Hey, kids. You're listening to the internet's wettest podcast about video games, consoles, and pancakes. The SML Podcast.
Prepare for the SML Podcast.
Howdy, Glenn.
There you go. Not muted anymore.
There it is.
Now it is now. That's good that you need, but that the
But barely.
You sound like you're 3 rooms away from your microphone.
Okay, perfect. That is probably a good thing in this case.
Good information, eh?
You're hearing me way better now. That means I'm going through the good microphone.
Yes,
Yeah.
now we hear you.
It just means I needed a different set of headphones on.
That works.
Tonight is all the audio problems. Cool.
It's not my fault this time either. I'm always the one that's muted or has the wrong mic on or whatever.
No, you go. I was messing with everything earlier because at the day job, I'm potentially going to be hosting a Jackbox party pack thing for a bunch of people that have never played it before. And that meant messing with the settings where it's like, I need to send the game audio to somewhere where a microphone can pick it up, but I need to not also have the chat going there because that's when it becomes problematic.
Technology sucks.
Yeah.
I agree. Fuck technology.
But anyway, Joe, what I was trying to say is you've already got tonight's episode and you can easily make a picture. Oops. Like, you know, that Captain Crunch cereal. Oops, all audio problems.
There you go.
There we go.
There
And
it
I
is.
just have to get creative with the artwork.
Jacob, you actually sound pretty good, but keep an eye on the wire against your boobs. It does that little...
Okay.
It's pretty good, but it'll do that little shika. You know what I'm talking about, the shika.
I don't know. So you're saying I shouldn't be fondling myself during the entire time of the recording?
That was a
Yes.
roundabout way of saying that, yes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
That was very diplomatic. Of
If you
to
can
say.
refrain. If you can.
I mean, I'm not going to stop you from doing whatever you want with your dongle. But since you can't find it, you have to listen to me.
I was going to say, yeah, it's now. I just said, you know, my personal radio dials.
There it is.
All right, should we start the show?
Sure, I guess.
Everyone ready?
Sure.
Yeah, I guess we can
I'll ever
start.
be.
Let's do this.
There is no ready.
Pretty much. Yeah, we just...
There is
Do it.
only do or don't do.
Yeah, I was going, what is the... There's no ready, there's only... What is it?
I don't know.
Not ready?
Ever ready? No.
Ever ready?
That's a battery. That's a battery.
Yeah, it's a battery.
No, that's a Jumanji reference, though, too, where they ask Robin Williams' character, are you ready? And he says, there is no ready.
Oh.
It's been too long since I've watched that.
Same. It was one of those things where I just happened to catch that part of it. I'm like, that's actually one of those, like, you get movies that have quotable moments that aren't really like the quotable moments that everyone remembers. But you look back and go, like, that's actually kind of quotable.
You're talking about that movie with The Rock in it, right?
No.
Fucking what?
There are, there's at least 3 Jumanji ones, though, where 2 of them do have The Rock, though.
Up his butt?
What?
Sure.
There is?
Yeah, for real.
Yes.
The only one I know is the Robin Williams one. That's it.
Ultimately,
I
it's the
heard
only one I
Jacob
think
say
you
something
need.
about up his butt.
No,
Everything goes up there.
my fuck off. My dog just came in from taking a poop and Jess was having him sit down on my lap and I'm like, did he clean his butt? Like,
Perfect.
He's like,
Oh, dongles.
I should have started.
oh, thank
Yeah.
God.
Oh, you asked if we were ready.
I know,
I mean,
but
we
I
all
didn't do
said
an
yes.
intro.
Well,
You should totally see that Jumanji movie with The Rock in it.
I interrupt your intros
it's
like
actually
a
really
quarter of the
funny.
time.
It's actually really funny, that movie.
Yeah, we'll just keep all this. I
I'm
don't
like
give a shit.
sad. I'm sad to admit that it is, but it is really funny. So take that.
Yeah, so let's see. Jacob's here, Bree's here, Aki's here, Glenn Case is here, and Grant Henry is here. How is everybody doing?
I'm roasting to death.
Super.
It is warm. Like, what is this shit?
it was in the
Well-
90s today here.
Oh, gross.
Gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I committed a cardinal sin of stupidity. I decided I'm going to be dog sitting soon, i.e. tomorrow. And I was like, I don't like cooking when other people's dogs are around. I don't want them to hop up and try and grab food or anything. So I like to make stuff that'll last a good long while. So I decided in my infinite wisdom to make chili.
Perfect for hot weather.
Yum.
Yeah, I know, right? And
Nice cold bowl of chili.
yeah, and I ate that tonight. So I feel like I am fucking... I feel like it's like 100 degrees right now.
Oh, Lord.
I was going to ask Fahrenheit or Celsius for 90 degrees, but 90 degrees Celsius would be a really bad time.
Oh, that would be a real bad time. Yeah, true story.
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
So, Glenn, what have you been up to? It's been a while since we've had you on. How are things?
I just got over COVID. There's that. And it seems like that's going around. And I wondered if COVID could be transmitted via the internet.
Yes.
Yes. Well, and here's the thing. I had a coworker who was talking about how lucky he was because he had never, he'd been able to avoid it. And lo and behold, he says, yeah, I jinxed myself. I've got it now.
Oh.
And so I said, well, clearly you got it through the internet through me. And I apologize for that.
Yeah,
I've
that
never
is
had
your
it
fault.
either.
No,
Knock
guess
on-
what?
No,
I
it
don't.
really
I
is
don't
going
go
around.
anywhere often enough for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't go anywhere either, but I still got it once, and that was
How
that
the
was
fuck
plenty.
do you manage that?
Because the other human that lives in the house leaves for work, and he brought it home with him, and didn't tell me that he was not feeling good. And
Surprise!
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll do it.
yeah.
That'll do it for sure.
Yeah, see, the only other human being living in this house is me, myself, and I, so I don't have to worry about that. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Nice.
That's 3 people.
My wife
Yes.
got it like a week and a half before VGM Con.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh no! And so I did the appropriate sequestering and took all the magic pills, and I came out okay. Just kidding.
Nice.
I took it to VGM Con and gave it to everyone.
Yay.
Spoilers. No. Got real lucky there. I'm like, I just bought a new guitar pedal. I'm not getting sick. Anyway.
You'd be doing some sick guitar playing, though.
Yes, well, yes, indeed. While sneezing on everyone.
Wow.
Sick
Yeah,
guitar play.
There you go.
Oh, man. Grant, how have you been? It's been a long time since you've been on this show.
I know. It's been like 48 hours. Yes, I'm good. I'm great. All's well. I drank a whole lot of wine on the last show, and tonight I'm just drinking sparkle water. Going light. Got to stay cogent.
No wine tonight?
Is that a word? No wine tonight.
No wine.
Gotta talk about some games and gotta do it with a clear head.
We do. We
should
got
go
a
get
lot
some
of
whiskey.
games to talk about. Should we dive into news? There was a lot of news this week.
Sure. I don't know
Do
any. Just before you ask me in the future, I don't know shit.
Did anybody
We
watch
know.
the IGN ID at Xbox showcase this week?
I totally missed that was even
Was
a
that a
thing.
couple days ago?
Yes.
Yes, I watched it right before the show.
Good
Yes, I did something
job.
right for once.
Look at this. Aki's on the ball tonight.
I'm not.
Just barely.
Okay, Aki, tell us all about the event.
Okay, there were some interesting looking games and some not so interesting looking games. If we want, I can go through the list.
Well, I have a list, so that's
Oh,
handy
thank
to
God.
have. They started off with a game called Astor Blade of the Monolith, which is coming out May 30th. This one looks really good, a hack and slash game.
I like the visual design of this. I think I saw this before this somewhere at one of the game shows.
Yeah, it was
And-
originally called Monolith, Requiem of the Ancients.
Okay.
But it got a
I
rebrand.
knew I had seen it and I was interested in it. So I'm glad to see this again.
Yeah, it's out at the end of the month, so that's pretty cool. Also happening at the end of the month is a beta for 33 Immortals. It's going to be happening May 24th.
That
I'm
one
excited about 33 Immortals. Like, this one's been on my list since they first showed it off.
is that like Hades or
It's a co-op roguelike game for 33 players.
Wow.
yeah, that might be a bit much for me.
It's
Yeah.
wild.
That's
Especially if they're all in the same room.
yeah, that if
Split
they're all in
screen
the same
co-op.
area fighting enemies, that's going to be too much flashing and flickering for me. No thanks.
33 player split screen.
Oh God.
Which Sliver's mine?
Yeah, which 4 pixels do I get to look at?
And that's on a modern television.
Oh God, can you imagine that shit on a CRT?
I'm just saying.
Pocket television. The PSP version will look great.
Just wait for it to come to Switch.
Oh yeah. Pal World is getting a massive update this summer with new pals coming along. I'm not sure if anyone's still playing that or not.
Meh.
I forgot to start. Sorry.
Yeah, I never did.
I don't blame you.
It's fun. Everyone compares it to Pokemon, but it's more of a survival game than a Pokemon game to me. I don't like survival elements in games, so I couldn't really get into it that much. I don't want to craft and build.
I don't mind the building. I don't like having to go get shit. Like, I just want, like, all the resources to be given to me in sets of, like, 90,000 or some shit, just so I can just build, because I like the building. I don't like the rest of what's required to start building. That's the boring part for me.
Yeah. Anyway, they showed off a World War II era Commandos Origins, getting a closed beta this summer if you're into war games. An 8-bit point-and-click adventure game is coming this summer called Centum. I honestly figured everyone on the show would be like begging me for this one. It looked really cool.
Those look cool.
It looked weird. I have no idea what it's going for.
Lost Records Bloomin' Rage from Don't Nod was shown off.
I am interested in that.
It got a new trailer, but no release date yet.
Yeah, I want to know more about what that game is, because that, just from what we saw, that looked like that could be pretty cool.
Yeah. Something else that looked cool. Key Locker. Did you see this one?
Yes, that looks so fucking awesome.
It's like a turn-based rhythm JRPG cyberpunk game.
Okay.
It looks unique.
I'm wondering if we're starting to get closer into what they used to have on the Xbox 360 with the independent games. Like, that was the Wild West when they first put out the independent games on Xbox 360, the ones you cannot buy anymore, where you're buying games like Try Not to Fart and stuff like that.
Remember
Is that where we're going now?
Baby Maker Extreme or some shit.
Yes, that sort of thing, exactly. I'm wondering if that's what we're getting back to with some of these titles.
They look interesting. As long as they have achievements and they're worth playing, I'll check them out. So
nice. Yeah.
As long as they're worth playing is all I care about. They can have no achievements and I'd be okay with that too. I'm too addicted to that bullshit.
The thing is, if they don't have achievements, that means Xbox didn't like put them through any kind of certification program, and they're a creators collective game, and there's like no quality control there. So
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah. That's why you'll see like mobile phone games that are 99 cents originally priced at like $17.99 on the Xbox store every now and then, and they look like garbage.
Yes,
Those are
game.
Yeah, those are creator collective games that just snuck through the cracks and made it into the full store. They're gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stampede Racing Royale is a battle royale racing game with 60 players on the course.
That sounds like a Jacob game all day.
That would be even worse on the multiplayer split screen, like a co-op in the same room.
Grant, did you say you played it?
Yeah, there was an insider demo. Actually, I think it's still open, like an open alpha or something.
Oh.
And it's from, oh my gosh, it's from Help.
Sumo.
It's Sumo, who's made a lot of really good racing games. I don't know what I think of it yet. It's a little slow and strange, and clearly no one else was playing, and I was playing a bunch of bots. But it's definitely Mario Kart, but with 60 people. So I don't know. We'll see. Feels kind of freemium, so we'll see. I don't know what they're going to sell this thing for, but I don't know.
Might be a free-to-play thing. So we'll see.
Might be.
Next game, Glenn, I know this one is up your alley. Jackbox is making an adult party pack.
What? As if the other ones aren't already?
I want to know what's included in this.
There's no information on what games are included yet. Apparently, it's going to be 3 games, and it's called the Jackbox Naughty Pack. It's coming this year.
Now, what that sounds like to me is like the party starter, where it would almost be like ones that they did earlier that fit that bill, perhaps, or are they new ones?
And we don't know yet.
They had the perfect opportunity to call it the Jack Off bundle.
Oh my gosh!
Come on.
They
right.
need to hire you.
Yes. Yeah. Everyone should.
I don't know if marketing would let that fly. You want to call it what?
Jack Cox.
The best thing ever.
Next game they showed off was Times in Galaxy. It's a point-and-click game that's going to be hitting Xbox and PC in June. There's a crazy visual art style to it.
Crazy with a lot of point and clicks going on right now.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
There's an old-school shooter called Sulfur coming. It's a self-described boomer shooter. In the vein of like Doom and Wolfenstein, stuff like that. Farah the Sundered Tribes is an action RPG that fuses monster hunting and tribe management. That sounds interesting.
And survival.
Yeah, building mechanics, tribe management. There's a lot of crazy looking games.
Yeah, I like the visual style. I don't know if the gameplay would be for me, but like if someone else took care of all of like hunting the monsters and building the cities and I could just roam around, I think I would probably have a lot of fun with that game.
I sometimes wonder if people have like a little bag with slips of paper on it with different game genres and mechanics, and they just shake it up and pull out like 3 things and go,
you have to.
This is what we're making. How do we make this work?
Yep, totally.
It's very possible with some of these games.
I just played. I told Joe about it a couple weeks ago, but like my game of the year so far is called Mini Shoot Adventures, and it's a twin stick shooter Zelda game. And I'm like, it sounds like something that would have come right out of that hat you just described. And it was incredible. So, you can nail it every so often. But I don't know.
Also incredible is the fact that Root Beer just came in and subbed for the 52nd month. That is 52 months of crazy emotes and cats and pancakes. And we thank you.
Pancake.
Yay. Pixel
Root Beer
Junk
is a fun
Monster.
name.
Yeah, Root Beer is a great name and a good drink too. Q Games, the creators of the Pixel Junk Monster series, are making an Xbox game. It is called All You Need Is Help. It's a multiplayer puzzle game.
Okay.
It's got
the
most adorable music in the trailer I think I've ever heard. Like they're going for a vibe, and I think they're nailing it. I don't know much about this game. I don't know how many of the Pixel Junk people are still around. That's a pedigree from a long time ago, but I'm interested.
Yeah, that caught my attention for sure.
I'd love to see the Pixel Junk games come to Xbox, but I'm wondering if there's a hold up with Sony on that, if they have ownership of the series or something.
Who knows? That shooter game was great though. That was my favorite Pixel Junk shooter.
Tales of Iron 2: Whiskers of Winter got a new trailer. So if you like Tales of Iron, it is getting a sequel. It's good. A new hack and slash RPG called Hangry.
That's pretty funny.
You have to hunt down and eat monsters.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
That is a very bright and vibrant game.
Promise Mascot Agency is coming. It is a new game from the developers of Paradise Killer.
Yes.
It has card-based battles in it.
That might be a card-based game I'm willing to try. Because I loved Paradise Killer. It was fantastic, and this looks just as fucking weird, so I'm all for that.
Yeah, it looks pretty bonkers.
Let's see. Gamera Games are going to be bringing 5 games to Game Pass with Depersonalization, Firework, Volcano Princess, Kelperth, and The Rewinder, which is out now on Game Pass.
The only one on there that I saw was Rewinder. I did not see the other ones, and Rewinder looked interesting.
Well, it's
Those
on
are all
Game Pass
legitimately
now.
Those are all legitimately cool sounding game names.
True.
Yeah, very.
Volcano Princess sounds good.
Yeah, for sure. Like, is it like a princess in a volcano, or is she like is a volcano, or can withstand the temperatures of a volcano?
I have no clue.
So many mysteries.
Find out more.
Yeah.
As the world turns. 15 games, 17 games from the Triple I Initiative were showcased in a sizzle reel that are going to be coming to Xbox, including Power World Arena and Cat Quest 3. There's some good stuff coming along. Dungeons of Hinterberg got a new trailer.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I want that so bad.
Yeah, definitely.
And they ended the show with Vampire Survivors Operation Guns DLC, new trailer before its May 9th release date. Vampire Survivors meets Contra.
I'll give it a shot.
I'm very curious to see what happens
Vampire
there.
Survivors earlier today.
For you?
Yep.
It's such an easy game to go back to and visit.
Well, there was some achievements that were added last week or this week or something the other day. So went back in to check it out.
Nice. But yeah, that was the IGN ID showcase. What do you think?
It had some good games in it.
I think it was a pretty good show.
Definitely.
I'm legitimately wondering, with all of the layoffs that have been happening with the bigger game companies, if we are going to see a large influx of independent studios doing their thing. And I feel like it could be a very good move for creativity for games, where you're not going to necessarily have graphics that are going to blow you away. But if the gameplay's there, then I feel like that can be a good thing.
I hope things turn out well. I just worry that we're in a really big recession gaming wise, and things are going to keep going for a while. But
yeah, that would be the potential downside of it, is if the market gets flooded with a bunch of games that aren't that good, then that's not good for anybody.
Yeah, take a look at the Switch and how hard it is to find good games on there sometimes.
For real.
There's a lot of garbage on the Switch. Some games coming to Game Pass. Not many, but there are a few. The first half of the month available now. We have a Nice Death, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and The Rewinder.
Very nice.
Yeah.
They all released. And then today we got Tomb Raider Definitive Edition.
Not bad.
Not bad. Next week on the 7th, Kona 2 Broom. Going to be on there. And May 9th, Little Kitty Big City.
Yay! That one looked like that could be cute.
I know everyone's
waiting for
excited
that
for
one.
Little Kitty Big City. I want that one.
Yeah.
Didn't know it was Game Pass. That's great.
Yep. And then May 14th, Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. I believe the original version.
The original version?
Yeah.
Not the new one?
re-release.
Not the remaster.
Weird move.
I know. Very weird.
Great game, though. I want to replay it, but yeah. Huh.
Not all good news, though, because a lot of games are leaving Game Pass on the 15th. There are 8 games hitting the road. Eastern Exorcist, Ayuden Chronicle Rising, Fuga Melodies of Steel 2, Ghost Lore, Just Cause 4, Norco, SD Gundam Battle Alliance, and Superland 6 Inches Under, all leaving Game Pass.
Yeah, I still need to play that Superland sequel. I love the first
I want to try Ghost Lore.
It sucks that the SD Gundam Battle Alliance is going, because if you have that digitally, or I guess physically, if you're playing it on the Series X, it's broke. They did not patch the Xbox Series version of the fucking game. It's patched on the Xbox One version, it's patched on the PC version, and it's patched on the Game Pass if you're playing it through
xCloud.
The cloud, yeah. But the downloaded version on the Xbox Series X is not patched. So you can't access like most of the DLC in the season pass. You can't access and lots of the stuff. And if you have a save that used any of that, it's now broke. So that fucking blows. And I've been trying to get both companies, Xbox and Bandai, to fucking do something, and none of them give a shit. Pisses me off.
Damn.
Bummer. I will say, play Norco if you haven't before it leaves, because it's amazing.
It fast?
I think you'd get through it in about 7-8 hours. It's a point and click pixel art game, super grungy, sort of an alternate future game. I freaking adore that game. So worth playing. Give it a shot. Give it some reading, and you'll see what kind of vibe they're going for. See if you like it.
Okay, cool. I will check it out.
All right. Let's see what other news. PlayStation Plus games for May were announced. They're getting 3 games and some DLC. They're getting EA FC 24, Good if you're into sports. Ghost Runner 2 is a good one. And then Tunic.
Oh,
That's cool.
Tunic, very
So
nice.
pretty solid lineup. And they're also getting the Lightfall DLC for Destiny 2. Let's see. Pinball news. Grant, I know you're excited about this stuff. Pinball Bites episode was what, today or yesterday?
Yep. Today.
Texas Chainsaw Pinball finally hitting Pinball M on June 6th.
Nice.
Yep. We played the demo a while ago. Sorry.
I love the demo.
It was good. It was so funny. They put this Pinball M pack out, the initial pack, and the tables were fine, but the demo for this one was the best one, I thought. But it was strangely, they didn't say anything about it. It's just a demo for this table on the Xbox only. Don't know why, but yeah, it's real good.
In the demo only, too. It wasn't in the main game.
Yeah, well,
it was just in the demo of... It was a demo of the demo.
Yeah, weird.
So, Pinball FX VR is in development. They're promising it will have a host of tables, including some Williams. Super League Football will release to Pinball FX on May 16th and will be free for the first week on console. We'll have a discount on Steam, and they're looking to possibly extend the freebie offer to Steam, but they got to work on stuff. But it'll be free on console, so grab it. And then Universal TV Classics and Pacific Rim will be hitting May 16th as well, along with a new XP system and UI updates. Grant, what are your thoughts on that? What do you think they're going to be changing?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about the XP stuff. I mean, I don't know if they're just changing the balance or if there's something completely new. I like the notifications. That was a problem before.
Yeah.
But mostly I just want to play Battlestar Pinball. And probably a little Xena, just for... Well, and Knight Rider. I just want to play them all, because those are cool things. All those things.
It's going to be 5 tables in one day.
That's nuts.
They should stagger them out more.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they do these bundles, and I don't know for what reason. Maybe it just makes more sense for their business model. But yeah, they like to package them, and these are very different. It's like it's speaking to a demographic, not necessarily. It doesn't work thematically, but it's like Xena, Battlestar, and Knight Rider. It's like, yeah, that's. There's a reason I'm going to buy that bundle, because I'm the age I am, and I'm a nerd. You know.
Yep. Be like, if you don't like one of these, you'll probably like at least one of these, even if you don't like all of them.
Exactly. But you gotta buy the bundle anyway. Yeah.
And then some sad news. Take-Two laid off all of Intercept Games and closed Take-Two Seattle. Kerbal Space Program 2 is supposedly safe, but who knows who the developer will be. And then they shut down Roll 7 as well. The makers of Ollie Ollie, Not a Hero, and Roller Drome, which is a bummer.
Sucks.
That's crap.
That's terrible.
That really is.
Those are all like, I'm not going to use the U word. Really cool, different kinds of games. That's just, hate it.
Yeah, and they were nice to us too. Roll 7 were good people.
I was going to say, I was really pleased with Ollie Ollie World compared to the original game that I had played. And I was so damn pleased that I still took a chance on reviewing it for the podcast, and then the devs were they were pleased to shit that I just even returned to the series, to give it a fair shake, and and that I was pleased with it too. So I don't know. I'm babbling.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Nice folks.
Yeah, but that is the news I have. Aki, any news? No, nothing.
Nope. I told
Bree,
you at the
any
start.
news?
I just had that Take-Two stuff, so.
Grant, any news on your end?
I don't think so.
Glenn, any news you want to talk about?
Actually, I could if you really wanted to. I just
what do you got?
Well, recent thing that I've learned about. I mean, I'm ancient. I'm Stone Age. You guys mentioned half of these titles that are even legacy titles, and I've not heard of them because because I'm a caveman over here. But after the Atari, you had the Mattel Intellivision that was out there, and I'm blown away that there are people making homebrew things for that. And so someone went through, and there was 4 games that they ever made that had voice on it. And so there's a guy who went through and made updates to those original ones with voice. And I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty
Improved
neat.
the games. Yeah.
Very cool. I did think of one thing I want to share that's news.
Sure.
There's a game in development called Retro Rally Racing. No, it's not called that. It's called Parking. It's called Parking Garage Rally, and it's essentially a Saturn era inspired rally game that completely takes place in parking garages, and it looks awesome. It looks like the controls really well. If you're a fan of that Sega era of the arcade rally games, this Parking Garage Rally game looks pretty awesome. So you could check out a trailer for that. But it's currently in development by the guy who did he did a bunch of other little small racers, indie racers. But yeah, I'm kind of excited. I love my racers. So, and this is a parking deck racer. Who doesn't like a parking deck racer?
True. I'm gonna have to look that one up. That sounds neat. Is that just PC or is that hitting console?
They're doing Steam at first. Steam, and I think they wanted to make it really Steam Deck friendly as well. So they're doing a Linux version, and then I assume it'll come to consoles later. But it's just one guy. So, yep.
Horror Acolyte mentioning Limited Run Games selling a CDR disc for their 3DO release of what was it? Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, I think. Sold CDRs, burned CDRs instead of pressed discs. That's pretty wild.
Was that on purpose, or
I guess so?
Or was that like a issue at the printers or something? Or I mean,
no clue. They haven't commented on it that I've seen.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if this was on purpose, then I mean, they're really cementing this as like the shittiest game ever that you shouldn't even bother with.
Well, it's a $70 package. You would assume that if you're paying that much, you would get something your 3DO could read.
You'd think.
That's fair. That's fair. But then again, do you really want your 3DO to read that thing?
Or Acolyte is saying the head of Limited Run seemed to admit fault. I didn't see that. So that is new developments I have not. Jacob, what news do you have?
Did we talk about Square Enix's crap?
What's going on there?
They're abandoning $100 million worth of HD remake, remaster, whatever projects, as they feel as though
the Xbox release of Pixel Remastered.
I'll bet you that they were probably in there. A lot of people think that the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth stuff is really underperforming. And so because of that, a bunch of other projects that were being worked on, or at least were going to happen, they've all been shit canned.
Nice, good job, Square.
And then July 18th, the final season of Cobra Kai comes out. I'm excited for that.
Nice.
I didn't know that even had multiple seasons, to be honest. I thought that was just a one season thing.
No, it's gone on for, what is it? Was that season 4 or 5 that?
Oh, wow.
Back in September. I don't remember if the final season's 5 or 6.
But that's a lot more than I thought it was ever could have even.
It's a pretty damn fun show. I mean, like, you can't take it seriously. But honestly, it's a fun throwback with some teenage soap opera bullshit. But, a lot of the fights are pretty cool.
Okay.
So,
yeah, it looks like they do have 5 seasons. So if they've got one more coming, then it would probably be season 6.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Season 6 will have 15 episodes.
15. Wow. Okay. Because I'm pretty sure that the previous seasons have only been like 10 or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm Googling it all. I was just curious.
I really want to go back to being employed and, being a productive member of society. But if I'm still unemployed as of July 18th, I'm not really going to complain about that.
and the major difference is previously you would get all 10 episodes of the season at once. This looks like they're splitting it up to where it's 5 episodes, then 5, and then another 5. So they're going to split it up.
Not that Stranger Things bullshit.
Yeah. You're looking at July 18th, November 28th, and then sometime next year.
Ouch.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's what they're doing.
Damn.
Hey, Joe, do you have Iron Sheik going fucking bullshit
No, I don't.
on your soundboard? Because that would be appropriate right now.
Let's see. What do I have? What kind of bullshit clip do I have?
Bullshit!
That one.
Yeah, that worked. That worked.
I've always thought you were a piece of shit.
Oh, no, I mean, I don't think that. I mean,
How about,
whatever.
how about this one?
Aside from my own actions, what did I do to deserve this?
Yeah, that worked.
Aside from my own actions, what did I do to deserve?
But the only other news I got is that yesterday the latest update for Disney Dreamlight Valley dropped. So there is a star path that's going on right now that is Disney Parks focused. So you're able to buy like premium content like the Tower of Terror, and there's like a few other rides that they've made like mini building versions of that you can buy for your land. Daisy is now available, and she has a boutique that you're allowed to display like the clothes and furniture that you've customized. And other people are going to be able to see what you've done. And I guess like they can like buy it from you, or like they can just get it from you. I don't know how it works. The guide wasn't particularly helpful, so I'm just going to like let it sit for a couple of weeks and let that part, like, let the real nerds figure that shit out. But if you have the expansion pack, A Rift in Time, Act 2 is now available, and we also get another villager with that. Spoilers, in case you all care, it's Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm plenty psyched about that.
That's pretty
however,
cool.
However, there is an issue that some people are having, because to get Act 2 to unlock, obviously you had to complete Act 1, and you have to complete the level 2 missions for Rapunzel, Gaston, and who was the third one that came out with Rift in Time? Gaston? Why am I blanking?
I don't know.
Oh, Eve from Wall-E. So you have to complete all of their level 2 missions. However, some people are saying that all of Eve's missions, or it's not unlocking for them unless they've already completed all of Eve's missions, which apparently I fall into that boat. So I have not actually been able to start Act 2 yet.
Proud of you.
So check in on me next week.
All right. Any other news?
I mean, the Knuckles miniseries came out. We watched the first 3 episodes as a family.
How's that?
We're enjoying it.
Did we ever mention that Keanu Reeves is going to be playing
Shadow?
Shadow?
I don't think. No, you know why? Because we didn't have a Thursday episode that week.
Yeah,
that's why. Ah, damn it! Aki,
great actor, terrible fucking character.
Oh, he'll make it amazing.
Yeah,
especially if they give Shadow guns.
Well, they have to. That's kind of one of his things.
And a motorcycle, you know.
Yeah. I just love every now and then you hear a whoosh, 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 whoosh.
It's the shika shika.
Yeah, the shika shika.
From what?
From you moving.
That's what that was. Okay.
I'm not moving. I'm laying here. I'm literally laying here. I'm not even playing with my boobs.
Yeah,
I don't believe that at all, but okay.
I'm not. I swear to you, I'm not touching my breastises.
Should we get to reviews? We have a lot of games to talk about tonight.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, let's do this.
All right, let's dive into these.
Hold on. Out of curiosity, has anybody ever used these kind of Apple headphones before?
Nope.
Not for actual conversations. No.
Shit. Okay. Because I'm like, I wonder if there's a way to mute myself, or
shika.
I would just not touch the thing with the microphone on it.
Does this do anything?
It made you
the audio. The audio quality suddenly got a lot better.
Oh, shut the fuck up!
It did.
No, I'm serious.
It really did. Yeah.
Wait.
I don't know what the fuck you did, but it did make it sound a lot better.
Wait, is it better now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Way better.
It was.
All I did is turn down the volume. All right, is it still good?
Yeah.
I think it's based on how you're moving the microphone.
I'm not moving it. All I did is turn down the volume on the little thing, and now
it may have been distorting or something. Yeah.
Well, it's like I can barely hear you guys, but apparently the audio is better. So I'll just have to hold these little earbud things next to my head because this is technology.
Let this be your lesson to stop losing dongles.
Yo, all right. If you had been like during your charity, if you had not bought me Chinese knockoffs, we wouldn't be here in this predicament.
If you hadn't lost them in the first fucking place, we wouldn't have been in this
First
situation.
Off, I didn't lose them. Somebody took them. Somebody who was not me.
Okay.
All right,
let's get to reviews. First game to talk about tonight is Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, developed by Fairplay Labs, published by GameMill Entertainment, released November 13th on all platforms for $49.99. Zuko released his DLC on April 24th for $6.99 or part of the season pass for $24.99. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 lets you duke it out with the biggest and best fighting character roster yet. Choose your favorite brawlers, master their unique movesets, and use all new powerful supers to land the finishing blow with friends or across a unique roguelike player campaign. Glenn and Jacob, both of you covered this. Glenn, how about you start off? What's going on in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2?
It's Super Smash Brothers with Nickelodeon characters.
All right, $50. What do you think?
Honestly, I think there's nothing wrong with a good knockoff. If we go back to like the old first PlayStation, Crash Team Racing was a knockoff of Mario Kart, but it was a damn good knockoff of Mario Kart. And I feel like that's what's going on here is you have something that's definitely got like the vibe of a Smash Brothers thing with Nickelodeon characters, but it plays well. I purchased the ability to go online again. I didn't have Xbox Live going on, so I went ahead and did like a 3-month thing of that, and I played exactly one game online, and I had my ass handed to me. And so that's how I know it's exactly like Smash Brothers in that way, because I'm also not very good at Smash. It was enjoyable, but I definitely got my ass kicked. And I tried to spend a fair amount of time in the story mode, whatever. I can't remember what they call it, but the idea that you're going through the story part of it. And I found it very enjoyable. There's a decent amount of characters, and playing with Zuko, like playing with fire.
And it's from all over. It's from all over Nickelodeon history. I mean, you've got Ren and Stimpy and Rocco in there. And then you've got modern ones of characters I don't even recognize because it's from after my time. These were cartoons that were coming out when I was in college. So I don't know who they are, but then at the same time, they've also got familiar faces like Garfield and
that blew me away.
Some of the Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I forgot that that Garfield's now a Nickelodeon property. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, that was a big surprise, I will say, for sure. And I love, even when you have characters, I wish that Powdered Toast Man was in there as a playable character, but he makes an appearance as far as in one of the stages.
Oh, he was in the first game.
Oh, was he playable?
Yeah.
In the first one? Oh, see, I haven't played the first one, so there you go.
I'm wondering if he's just unlockable or something, because I'll be honest, I didn't look at any guides on this. I was working with what the game had sent. Sure. And because he does show up in the trailer for it, so I'm wondering if he's a character that you just later unlock or something.
I'm looking at the character list, and he's not showing up on there as a character. I know, Leonardo was in the first game. They removed him. The two Ninja Turtles that were in the first game are not in this one.
You get two Ninja Turtles in this one, and you also get April O'Neil.
And Rocksteady
there's nothing wrong
is going to be DLC, I believe.
Okay, that's cool. And also, one of the things I thought was really cool is all the different outfits that you can dress all the characters in. And they really bring in, there are some deep cuts with some of these outfits. Rocco, you could dress him up in the little baseball cap that he has as a little kid when he gets, when life flicks him, and kicks him in the butt. In the opening sequence for the Ninja Turtles, there's different art styles. So if you want them to be in the comic books, the original black and white, they can do that. They can be the 80s cartoon show. They can be modern. And one of the things that I thought was really cool was going into the Prince Zuko DLC. Was all of the different outfits that you saw him in the Avatar: The Last Airbender cartoon show. Like there are a ton of outfits for him, and also like the other characters too from that series. And it was just like you can really tell that there is a lot of love and respect that the devs have for these Nickelodeon properties. And I just thought that was really awesome, especially like, with costumes and moves and stuff like that.
Absolutely agree, because the thing is with something like this, in order to keep you playing, to keep you interested, if they give you a lot of unlockables, and there is no shortage of unlockables here.
Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, it's a knockoff, and yeah, there's like a level of cash in, that comes with it. But it never once feels like a cheap knockoff.
Bingo.
Like this is definitely a game that stands on its own two legs, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like my wife and I, we usually don't play a lot of games together, mostly because like the games that we usually do play together are co-op, and we'll end up yelling at each other because one of us isn't doing what the other one wants the other one to do. But with this one, like we're just like beating the crap out of each other. We're just having a blast, like just trying to figure out the different moves. And it's like, oh, how did you do that? Mm-hmm. Like, and then trying to replicate it with my guy. And it was also the first time that she had ever played a Smash Brothers game. So, I got to win the first few fights because she was totally unprepared. So, that made me feel good.
I loved playing as Patrick Star, and where his smash move is the telephone. And no, there's his Patrick.
Yes.
Made me so happy. I love that. No, and there are a number of these ones that you'll review them and you'll play them, and it's almost like a chore, like you're playing it just to make sure that you get the review. We're definitely going to be breaking this one out in the future. No question.
This is one that definitely has staying power.
Especially with the DLC coming with more characters on the way.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what they all are.
I wholeheartedly agree.
The game clocks in at $50. Zuko is $7. Season pass with all the characters is $25. What are your thoughts on all the pricing?
Game's definitely worth it. I would recommend buying the season pass just so you have everything.
Yes.
I mean, I guess if for some reason you only want Zuko and nobody else, I guess you can go that route. But I would just do the season pass. This is honestly like, this is as close as you're going to get to having Super Smash Brothers on the Xbox, at least in this, decade. So might as well make the best of it. And this is like really friggin' solid.
Yep. I would agree. It's a slam dunk.
Cool. That's great.
Very cool. I just looked it up. The DLC characters are Mr. Krabs, Zuko, Rocksteady, and Iroh.
There you go.
Oh, Iroh's coming. Oh, yeah. That's exciting. We love my family, like my immediate family. We're big fans of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Iroh was one of our favorites. Had we actually had a third child, Iroh was going to be that kid's middle name.
Everyone loves Iroh. Iroh's like one of the best characters ever made, just period, let alone in Avatar.
Yeah, it's true.
See, and I wonder if they'll just go ahead and put Waluigi in there, since Smash won't.
Oh, Lord. All right, well, that is it for you, Glenn. We will let you get going. Thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us.
Well, of course. Glad to do so. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. Do you have any final words before we let you go?
Yeah, I'm looking over here at a DVD set of the TV show Get Smart, and so I'll quote it and say, missed it by that much.
Funny you should mention that. I've actually been getting my kids into that show.
Really?
Yeah, really recently, although I've been previewing some of the episodes because, they aired back in the 60s when...
Some of it did not age well.
No. I had to skip over, I think it was called like Washington 4. I don't know. but essentially a bunch of Native Americans take over a place, and I was just like, we're going to skip this one.
I definitely, that was my experience as well. Looking at that, I'm like, this is very clearly from the mid '60s. But if nothing else, you go a couple of decades later, and animated, same voice for Inspector Gadget. It's also Don Adams.
Oh yeah, he was also oh shoot, it was like a walrus and a penguin. One of them was named Chumley. But yeah, he was the voice for one of them too.
Nice. Missed it by that much. That'll be my final words today.
Good stuff. Have a good one, Glenn.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Please.
All right, next game
the
to
best
talk.
part with his audio issues, like it sounded like he was walking away anyway.
All right, next game to talk about is House Flipper 2, developed by Empyrean, published by Frozen District, released April 10th on Series X and S and PS5 for $39.99. Time to dust off your hammer. House Flipper is back in brand new fashion. Buy and renovate rundown houses, or maybe you want to build new ones. Now you can. Start as a rookie flipper and make a fortune by helping out the community of the charming town of Pinnacove. Bree, what is going on in House Flipper 2?
Well, the game is split into 2 story modes, jobs and house flipping. Jobs give you some quick cash to buy houses and teach you some basic skills in a safer environment with some specific guidelines on how to finish the job. And then there's also a sandbox mode where you can build everything from the ground up. The graphics of the game are updated with a slightly different overall look. It's kind of hard to put a point on like how it looks different, but it does look a little different from the original game. The music, though, is very similar to the original game. Start of the game gives you some tutorial missions about cleaning and item placement and basic tools. I felt like the game was kind of designed so you could play this one even if you hadn't played the first one. Like the way that they give you the intro missions really feel like you could be starting this whole thing for the first time. And I think that was a good thing because, I needed a refresher, but also all of the new stuff that I'll talk about here in a minute. Flipping houses in this one gives you a bit more carte blanche with your homes, but it also doesn't give you a lot of help. In the first game, you could build and furnish your homes to a proposed buyer, and they would give you like little hints on what would sell the house. Now you just get a house, you clean it up, and you don't really get any direction as to what's going to make you a lot of money. Some of that I feel like you kind of learn through the jobs, like what sorts of things the game is expecting you to have in a house to get a good price for it. But as long as it's clean, I was able to make some money and flip my houses, so that was good. You've got 3 suburbs to purchase from. Pinnacove, which is like generic suburb America. You've got the Coalroot Forest with a more woodsy cabin vibe, and the Crayfish Coast Beach Community. And those are the houses you get to renovate. I figured the best way to talk about the rest of the game was really just to talk about the new features. So first you have quests. You go into different rooms in your jobs, and it tells you what to do. It's amazing. It's so much better than the first game as far as like helping you figure out what to sell, what to clean. And then those first missions really show you the ropes, whether you're a seasons flipper or not. I feel like you get enough money to be able to buy your first house after doing the first couple like intro missions too, so that was good. We now have unpacking things. Clients will have boxes for you to unpack and place the items around the house. There's a crouch and a jump button. And that was something I don't remember being in the first game and is super helpful when you're like trying to get the tile work at the bottom rim of the bathroom to look just right. Or there's just this one item that's in your way and you really just want to go paint on the other side. You can just jump over it now instead of having to move everything around and shuffle it. Because sometimes you can't like sell everything in the room and start from scratch to paint the walls. You've got to like move stuff around because the client wants to keep things. Speaking of painting is done a little bit differently. You have the ability to select a segment to paint, kind of like putting down tape on the wall. And then once you've got the tape down or the area marked off, you can just paint freely in that section. And it doesn't matter how messy you are, it's only going to paint that section, which is really nice. You're really stuck to a plane, so you're not going to accidentally paint like one little square of the ceiling, which was a problem in the first game.
Sounds very helpful.
It really, really is. You can free paint as well, but I feel like the controls on that are a lot better. But really liked the paint selection segment area, whatever you want to call it, that you can. It even has like a little blue border, like the blue paint tape. It's kind of cool. The flipper tool now has the ability to copy and duplicate things. So you can copy like a flooring option. So say you have a floor that has some like panels that need to be redone because they're all scratched up or whatever. You can aim at the good part of the floor and it'll bring it up in the store, and you can buy that exact copy and then use that to put on the floor. You can also duplicate, like, oh, hey, I need this one chair, duplicate, and you can just like place the chair down, which is really nice. Wiring, you now have the ability to control the lighting. You can bring up your wiring tool and you can put lamps and things and attach them all to a single switch or multiple switches. You can kind of play around with all that. There's actually an achievement for this feature that asks you to wire 20 things to the same switch and turn it on. So I had this one hallway with like 20 lamps. And then it was just instant daylight inside. Flipper Sense is the best thing ever. By pressing the left bumper, at least on Xbox, you can cast a highlight of things that need your attention based on the tool you have highlighted. So if you are walking around trying to pick up trash, and it'll tell you on a job especially, like you're missing some trash, but you don't see it immediately, you can click your Flipper Sense and it will highlight it in yellow. Same thing for stains, same things for things you need to vacuum or sell. You can, whatever tool you have up, if it has a sense for it, like it's mostly a dirt sense, but yeah, it'll highlight it in yellow. It's kind of like the dirt sense in Power Wash Simulator. It was very, very helpful throughout the game. You can now sleep in beds. So if, because there is a day-night cycle in the game, if you're just like, I don't want to use my flashlight and work through the night, you can just sleep through the night and then only work during the day, which I thought was a nice feature. There is a mini game for assembly now, so you can make furniture out of the base parts in a kit. The better you do, the better discount you get on similar parts in the store when you're purchasing them for your flip houses. So you've got to do things like drill holes, hammer pegs, and all the little different things you need to do to complete your kit. So like if you want to make a cabinet, you want to get a discount on cabinets, you got to learn how cabinets are made and how they're hung. So first you'll drill a hole in the wall to put the hangers on, and then you've got all the different things. You got to put pegs and cam locks and different types of screws in that all fit into each other, and then start assembling the whole thing together. You got a timer for the assembly mode as well. You don't have to like be the fastest at it, but the faster you are, the more points you get, so you get a better discount. And there's like a dozen different things to assemble, like clocks and cabinets and chairs and stuff like that. Not new things in the game. The kitchen the client wants never fits in the space. Or replacing the cabinets in the house and flipping it just doesn't feel right, and I give up and I leave it a jumbled mess. I don't know what it is about the kitchens. Maybe it's just me, but like I can never seem to fit everything quite right. It's like you'll go into the house and there'll be this totally trashed kitchen. You're like, oh, I got to take that out. I'm like, all right. So there's a stove, there's a corner piece, there's a double sink, there's like this double cabinet, and so you're like, all right, I've made a note of that. I'm gonna get rid of it all, and I'm gonna put new ones in that are identical, and somehow they just don't fit right for me.
Fall into the abyss of my gaping butthole.
That was not new. There were also some places that you just couldn't paint, like the banister of a staircase, divider on the first house that you get. I don't know why, I just couldn't paint a couple of different areas. So not complete 100% control, but most of the other stuff is a lot better as far as painting corners and things like that. Things at an angle, stuff getting underneath, you can really get it cleaner and neat if you're just an absolute perfectionist. Like, it's a lot better in this one than it was in the first.
You know what else is a lot better? Getting more viewers. And we just got rated by Dopey with 23 viewers. Welcome in, everyone. We are chatting about House Flipper 2 right now from Empyrean and Frozen District. It is available on Series X and S and PS5. Pri is talking about it now. Continue on. What were you saying?
But yeah, it feels like there's a lot more content in this one than the original base game. I see room for expansions in House Flipper 2 as well, and I look forward to that. I found that I liked the jobs more than the actual house building this time because it was like too open-ended for me, and I wanted a little bit of input from the game, like in the first game where they're like, we really want to make sure that there's a bedroom for our kids, or I really want to see plants in the house. I miss having that input when I'm flipping my houses. So that was a downer for me. But
you need more structure instead of being left to your own devices. I wanted a tiny bit more structure. Yeah, a tiny bit of input extra would have been great. That said, I overall had a really great time with the game. I will say one other like weird knock. There was like some light flickers from time to time that were kind of irritating. I'm not really sure what was going on with that, but every once in a while it was just like these like light flickers. It wasn't necessarily changing scenes or rooms or whatever. Just sometimes it just happened. So that was weird. But no, overall, I had a really good time with the game. Well, it clocks in at $40. What are your thoughts?
I would say that is a good price for the amount of content. And I think if you liked the first game, you're going to like this one.
Very cool. All right, one more game for you. That's called The Fall of Elena Temple, developed and published by GrimTalin, released April 30th on Xbox One, Series X and S, and Switch for $2.99, releasing in June on PS5 and Steam. The Fall of Elena Temple is an old-school puzzle platformer in which you explore rooms, avoid perils, and collect coins to progress. Catch is you can undo your falls, so don't be afraid of heights. Fall and collect the coins below, then undo back up to where you fell from and keep collecting coins. Bree, how is it?
Well, that covered about everything I was going to say.
Doesn't sound like it's a very complex game, but is it fun?
It is and it isn't. So yeah, you're treasure hunting again as Elena Temple, and then you've got this twist. In order to clear the room, you have to pick up all the coins. There is no fall damage, but you definitely need to fall to collect those coins. But you have to do it in the right order so you can get back if you need to. So there's like portals and crystals that move you around the room, and the portals, I can't say the word portal. The portals are labeled like A, B, and C, and then your last jumps are numbered like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so on. I think most of the puzzles I ran into, you have like 3 to 5 jumps for what you can undo. So you'll be at the top. You'll start at the very top. You don't always start with the crystal. The crystal is the key. You may have to go find the crystal and then use a portal to get back up to the top or something. But the key is to get from the top, and then you fall off a platform and pick up some coins. You can jump using A, I think, or up on the D-pad. And because not all the coins are like right at your level, but you can't jump to another platform. So you can only fall or move forward and backwards. And you use the B button to back up. So if you fall from the top platform to the platform below, you'll see a 1 above your head on the platform you just left from. And if you press the B button, you'll teleport back to where you were. Pretty simplistic, and also it's really complicated.
I'm looking up because Rupert mentioned it was on the Playdate. It released last year on the Playdate. Are you familiar with what the Playdate is?
I am not familiar directly with what that is, but I know that this came out on some other things earlier in its life. Yes,
it has a crank on it, and you use the crank to do the rewinding.
Oh, that's cool.
I think that's a fun little twist.
That is cool.
That's how they brought it over to console. I guess they just. That's interesting. Yeah, this is on Playdate. That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know what Playdate is. I'll have to look it up later. But yeah, so it has old school Game Boy graphics, like gray and black. You've got a pixelated color background of like the living room at Grandma's house or some other scenes that you unlock. And you've got your Game Boy in the middle. You can zoom in and make that really big, which is great because I have a really small TV that I sit in front of, like probably way too close, like all the things you heard as a kid about sitting too close to the TV. Like I totally do that. And this is why my vision's going. There was no real map for controls on the game. It kind of just like have to figure out that you could zoom by trial and error. That was a little I was concerned at first that I was actually playing it on this little screen. I was like, there's got to be some button somewhere that does something. Okay, there we go. Most of the tutorial is in the game itself. You've got like self-aware dialogue. that like Elena comes in, which is kind of cute. She's like, "Why is there a heart there? Everyone knows that a heart means you can take damage, right?" And then you have to like fall into spikes or something for the first time. But all in all, like it was an interesting puzzle game because it is really a puzzle game. It's not a platformer. You jump off and fall, or rather, you fall off of platforms, but there's no real platforming in the typical sense. So, but I would say it was pretty challenging. There's one level that kind of defeated me, if I'm being honest. I could not figure out the math on how to make it work with only 3 jumps back or undos or whatever you want to call them.
So you're just stuck there, I guess. Any guides
I will
online,
figure it out
or?
Eventually. I don't know. I haven't looked that up
force
yet.
it?
But, yeah, I mean, I'll figure it out eventually. I'm smart. I can do this. There's only 20 levels for the completion, but it does come in for Xbox. It comes in with 2,000 gamer score to start with for those 20 levels.
Oh, wow.
Which is, yeah. And you were going to say something about the price there.
Yeah, it's $3. What do you think?
So yeah, I mean,
An expensive one, I know.
Yeah, I know, and for that, I mean, I can say yes, give it a try.
Very cool. All right, that's it for you, Bree. Are you sailing tonight?
I am gonna sail, and I totally forgot to say. I could have said this earlier, but yeah, the new season of Sea of Thieves just dropped on Tuesday and is now officially on PlayStation, and so we are going to check out all the new content tonight and see.
No Skull and Bones?
No Skull and Bones. Sea of Thieves.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I'm a PlayStation player now. Didn't you know?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, no, I've given up Xbox entirely. I am only going to play on PlayStation now because of Sea of Thieves. That's
Play all those PlayStation exclusive Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, exactly.
That
Those
makes
Switch
sense.
games like Grounded. All right, Bree, do you have any final words?
No.
You could say, "I'm sailing." That's something
I'm
you could say.
sailing. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Sailing away.
Oh my goodness, no, I'm gonna have that stuck in my head.
Save them for more weeks. Don't blow them all right now.
You
You guys have a good one.
Take it
See ya.
easy.
Bye.
Oh, all right. Next up, we have a preview of The Rogue Prince of Persia, developed by Evil Empire, published by Ubisoft. It's releasing May 14th on Steam Early Access, but no price has been disclosed of as of yet. Jump into this action roguelite installment in the Prince of Persia series as you flow between death-defying platforming, acrobatic combat as the prince himself battle through the capital city again and again with one goal: find a way to save Persia from a Hun invasion wielding dark magic. Grant, you checked out a preview of this on Steam. What are your thoughts of it?
Yeah. Did you know that there's a Prince of Persia game coming out every month all year long? Like, what are we doing? This is insane. I love Prince and all, but wow, it just feels really soon. But yeah, the game drops soon. But for now, they're letting, I believe it's an alpha, but I'm not completely sure. It's basically the first few biomes and a couple bosses, just to kind of get your hands dirty, learn a bit what this game is like and how it may differ from The Lost Crown, which we saw a few months ago, which was quite good. But yeah, Rogue Prince of Persia is a roguelite. It is very Dead Cells, as you might expect from the pedigree working on this game. Not a Metroidvania, very much a from left to right experience as you travel through these worlds and continue into different biomes. It has a really cool flat shade look. I like it. It was strange seeing it in the original trailer. It was so different, but it makes everything really easy to read, which is nice. And it's definitely not like the other Prince of Persia. I mean, in the sense that there's platforming. Outside of that, that's about it. I mean, you got a sword, and there's rewind mechanics in the context of a roguelike, but that's about it. Yeah, there's a procedural element to environments. So, similar to other roguelike games, you're going to recognize tiles as you come across them. But, the levels flow really well, but every playthrough is going to be a little bit different. And the way it works is as you travel through a biome killing things, you'll run into save spots, these little save stations, which double as warp points. So even though the levels are somewhat linear, you can travel to any warp point from any warp point you found. And the reason you'd want to do that is because you're collecting money, and you may want to spend that at a store you found previously for gear, either upgrading gear you might have or changing out your secondary weapon. So it's nice that we have that warp, so you don't feel like you're missing out on a store. But as soon as you leave the biome, as soon as you go somewhere else, once you head into the sewers, you're not going to be able to warp back to any of the stores from the previous biome. When you enter a new biome, I'm saying biome because that's what they call them. You get a really good refill of health and a new health to take with you and use in battle. You do get a primary and a secondary weapon, which is a bit different than Lost Crown was. You can replace those pretty much at any time when you come across them. You can, if you like the arrows better than the other items, you can keep the arrows if you want. There isn't a whole lot of ranged stuff in this game, but you do have the ability to kind of fire stuff where you want, which is nice. And you'll collect other abilities in the game. It's very Dead Cells. You will get other abilities as you travel along, other perks. You just sort of slot them into the spaces you have available. The game plays well. It feels different than Lost Crown in a lot of ways. You have this, when you jump, you sort of lunge. It's hard to describe, and you kind of have to play it, but when you jump, you sort of dart out, and it actually feels really good given how the levels are designed. You don't get a double jump in this game. It's replaced by wall running. So if there's a wall behind you, you can essentially run up like 3 or 4 steps and then give it a boost with your jump at the end, or use it to, traverse large gaps. Some pretty good enemy variety. I made it to the first boss. He's rough, but the grind is the idea, right? You die, you get warped back to the beginning. I haven't learned a lot about the story. You just know that you are essentially being awoken. And when you respawn, you're collecting these glimmers in the world that you can use to upgrade weapons permanently. So there's your roguelike. And it feels good. It always feels good to come back a little stronger than when you died previously. One of the things I really like about this game is the music. It's got this like Middle Eastern, West Asian music stuff, the stuff you might expect in Prince of Persia, but it's got trap beats on everything. It's got some sick music. It's got some attitude, which I think you might also expect from this dev. But I'm not exactly sure who's doing the tunes, but it's definitely it's good feeling music. Got a good heartbeat. But yeah, this is just the demo. This is like the early access, right? This one thing I didn't realize is that it is coming to early access on QUByte.
The 14th, May 14th.
Yeah, so we're close, right? We're right there, but this is just sort of a pre-early access demo. They wanted to give people a taste of some of the the game isn't. I don't think the biomes are necessarily ordered, and these aren't necessarily the 2 bosses you're going to see at the beginning of the main game. But they wanted to give people trying the demo just a little variety. So, so I'm not really an early access kind of guy. It depends on the game. I kind of like to play games when they're done. I think a lot of it depends on whether or not the early access is a business move or whether it's like really early, But this game it already plays great. Lots of, missing sound effects and things I think you might expect from this stage. But it plays great. No crashes, no issues. And I could definitely see myself sinking some time into this. I don't know what the state of the game will be in a few weeks, but, early plays real good.
It sounds like it's shaping up to be pretty good. We don't have a price on it, so we can't really say whether it's worth grabbing or not, but is it worth wish listing? Is this something we should be keeping our eyes on?
100%. Definitely a wish list, especially if you're a fan of this type of game. If you're a platform lover, like that kind of combat, and if you're a roguelike person, roguelite, absolutely keep an eye on this one for sure.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. Next up, Dead Island 2, developed by Dambuster Studios, published by Deep Silver, released April 22nd on Steam for $59.99. Deadly virus spreading across Los Angeles, turning its inhabitants into zombies. Bitten, infected, but more than just immune, uncover the truth behind the outbreak, discover who or what you are, survive, evolve, and become the ultimate zombie slayer. Aki, tell us about your time playing Dead Island 2 on Steam.
Okay, so I've put 45 hours into this, and I just want y'all to understand that. I'm not halfway through this game yet.
I thought you were kidding, and then I went onto Steam and went to your name. 45 hours played. That's not an exaggeration. That's not rounding up. You really put 45 hours into this game in like a fucking week. That's insane.
Yeah, I would have put more into it, but I had 2 other games I had to review. I played the first Dead Island game. I 100%ed it, and other than the DLC, I assume that had achievements. I don't know. It was okay-ish at best. It wasn't a particularly amazing game or anything. This game is better in every single possible way. You get, I think, 6 characters to choose from at the beginning. 3 guys, 3 girls. I chose the Asian girl, because of course I did. And her name's Amy, and she's really fast and athletic, and she's a para-Olympian. She's missing a leg, and she kicks the shit out of zombies, so it's great. You have different stats for each character, which makes them all different. They also have different cards that you use to give them different abilities later on as you level up, because that's how this system does leveling up. You get a level, you're either given a new card from one of like 5 or 6 different areas where you can place cards, or you unlock a new area to place a card. And these cards give you different abilities. Like, some of the first ones are all story-based, like the ability to dodge or block. You get to choose which one your character does. The ability to drop kick or jump kick is another one. Things like that, and are just the standard ones you get through story. And then ones for getting level ups are like, you can, when you dodge perfectly, you can get a little extra health. Or when you do this type of attack, you do extra damage or something. And every character not only has different stats, but they also have specific cards that they can get as they level up. That's only for 1 or 2 of the characters. The other characters don't get that card. They get a different card. So there's a lot of ways to make the character your own. I haven't personally found a lot of them to be super useful because they're based on abilities I don't really use. Because I have a attack button and a heavy attack button, or I could push a bunch of other buttons to do other abilities, or I could just hit things really, really hard many, many times. So I tend to just hit things many, many times because it's easier for me. There's also another semi-leveling type of system. There's a bunch of challenges in the game, and each one has, almost all of them have multiple levels. And as you complete those, you get passive benefits to your character. Sometimes it's, you complete this level, you get like 500 money, which is fucking nothing. That's an absolute worthless amount of money, because everything at this point in the game costs like around 20,000, which is obscene. But, some of them are like, kill this shock zombie, kill like 50 of them, and each time you get through one of the stages, which just increases the number of how many you have to kill, it gives you a passive resistance to shock damage. And there's plenty of them like that. There's like, 60, 70 different challenges, and each one of them, for the most part, have like 3 or 4 levels to them, each giving better passives or more money or what have you, which is really fun. I actually really like that aspect of it. I'm not sure how many people will, but I find stuff like that fun because I'm a dork. Otherwise, in this game, you're playing as someone, you're in LA, you're trying to get the fuck out of LA because the zombies have come down, and this isn't a hidden thing. Everyone knows this. This is like nationwide news already. Like, people were warning people about this and no one believed them, and they were just having fun, and then it became like super public, like, Yeah, no, this is seriously happening, and people are like filming it and putting it on their version of TikTok and shit. So
that would happen if it happened for real.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they'd be doing exactly as one of the side characters does in this. She was a gamer streamer for whatever their version of Twitch is, and then since this happened, she instead films herself killing zombies for the views because it's fun. That would 100% happen. I believe every facet of that because I'd be one of those people because I'm a fucking sociopath. So I am one cataclysm away from being a terrible person. In this, all your weapons degrade and break over time. You can repair them at workstations, which there's a few of. There's not a ton of them everywhere you look, sadly. You can have 8 weapons equipped on your person that you can get into a circular wheel and choose from. The game doesn't tell you how to get there, which is fucking irritating. I had to go look it up online to figure out how to actually get into the wheel because I couldn't figure out how to equip specific weapons. And you can also have another 8 weapons that you're just carrying that you can swap into their place if one of your weapons breaks. You also kind of need this space, though, because if you find another weapon, you either have to drop one to pick up that new weapon, or scrap one, or whatever. For scrapping, there are things you can build in this game, just like the last one. There are upgrades for your weapons that give them different abilities, like you can make your... Eventually, when you get guns, as well as your melee weapons, you can give them the ability to set things on fire, to shock things, to corrode things, to do more just generalized damage, because there are different zombies that are actually immune to different types of damage, as well, not just from like fire, corrosion, and shock, but also like there are bladed weapons as well as blunt weapons, and some of the enemies are immune to being cut. So you really want to keep a whole bunch of different types of weapons, as well as different types of upgrades on them on you at all times. I tend to just choose a weapon at random and use just that, and when an enemy doesn't take damage, I just flip to something else and hope that it hurts them. It's worked so far, sometimes. There are special types of enemies, because things like ones that can shock you aren't special, they're just standard ones. There's ones that are called screamers, and they scream, which alerts other zombies and gets them to come at you, as well as giving those zombies benefits. And they're a piece of shit, and I hate them, because they make the game fucking miserable. There's crushers, who are these big, gigantic bodybuilding badasses, who sometimes set themselves on fire to beat the shit out of you. They're hard to kill, but they're not too bad, because they're slow assholes. And then there's spewers, I think is what they're called, which are blobs, basically, that vomit on you, because, of course. And then there's all the other sorts of zombies, from ones that just shamble, to ones that walk, to ones that run. And there's various different types, be it ones that are just standard, ones that are set on fire, ones that can shock you, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of different enemy types in here. Not that it really matters, because if you have a hatchet, you can cut most of their heads off anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But different ones can do different types of damage to you if they get close to you, so sometimes it's good to use different weapons to kill them from different distances just based on what their ability is. Or you can be me and you can be stupid and not care about any of that, because I hit things hard. Yes. There are a lot of side quests in this game. Be it sometimes a character will give them to you. Sometimes it's finding a character. Sometimes you're like, oh, this box has a weapon in it. I need to go figure out how to get into this. Sometimes you have to save some characters from some zombies. A lot of times that's what it is. Other times it's, hey, go find these people I know, and they ended up turning into zombies, and now you have to kill some named special strong zombies that will kick the shit out of you without a second thought, time and time again. Thankfully, when you die in this game, it doesn't send you back to your last checkpoint or back to the last time you saved. It usually sends you just a handful of feet away and lets you just run right back into the fight. For scripted things that have like cutscenes or part of side missions, that's the words I'm looking for, they might spawn you before you actually went into that fight in the first place, just to make it fair. This is usually really great. Sometimes, though, the game decides, hey, all the damage your weapons have taken during this fight, we're just going to keep that on your weapons, and any of the health kits you've used, we're just not going to give you back. And you can restart this fight in a worse situation. Have fun! Usually it doesn't do that, but sometimes it does, and those sections fucking suck so bad. Because they're almost always when you have to, like, start a lot of really loud shit, which draws a ton of enemies to you, and there's always a few of the special ones there. It's like, motherfucker, the 5, 6, 7 times I've had to play this, almost all my weapons are broken, and the repair bench is all the way the fuck over on the other side of the screen. I don't want to go over there. Just let me kill you, please, I beg you. That's happened to me a couple times, admittedly, and it sucks when that happens, but usually it respawns you, no damage done to your weapons, puts you basically before the fight, and it's great, and I love when that happens. And yeah, again, I'm not even halfway through this fucking game. The game actually tells you what percentage of it you've completed, which I don't know if it counts the side missions or not as part of that, but I think I'm like 44% of the way through the game.
Oh my god.
Yeah, 45 fucking hours.
Well, you could do an update on this if you want in like a week or 2
I won't
or
be
9.
able to. Yeah, I was about to say, I definitely won't be able to do it next week with how many games I have, but the week after, I might, because I have actually really and thoroughly enjoyed playing this. And Dead Island 1, I played it because someone was playing with me, and I had gotten an achievement, so I was like, okay, I need to finish this. I didn't particularly like that game at all, which is why I don't have the DLC. This game, I've thoroughly enjoyed. I really like it. The characters have some funny shit to say, and for anyone who liked the first game, if you really liked Sam B, he is back, and he's an asshole.
Yay, I love Sam B. We'll do it together.
Yeah, sadly, we don't get to hear Who Do You Voodoo Bitch again. Yeah, that was like my favorite part of Dead Island 1. I fucking love that goddamn song. And we don't hear it again, and he's such an asshole in this, and it's so fantastic. I love it, but he's such a douche.
Well, the game clocks in at $60 on Steam. What are your thoughts on it? Is it worth picking up on Steam? Would you get it on console? What would you do with this?
I think right now, it's totally worth getting. I don't think it really matters where you get it, because it plays really well. I will want to do an update on this, because I have heard that the ending isn't very good, so I want to get to that and see how I feel on the whole game after I see the ending. But from what I've seen so far, I've really liked this game, and I think it's worth the money.
Cool. All right, next up, Tales of Kenzera Zao, developed by Surgent Studios, published by Electronic Arts, released April 23rd on Series X and S, PS5, and PC for $19.99.
I'm jealous.
Wield the dance of the shaman, reclaim your father's spirit. A grieving boy begins to read a Bantu tale written by his late father. Venture into the beautiful and treacherous lands of Kenzera as Zao, a young shaman who bargains with the god of death to bring his Baba back from the darkness. Grant and Jacob, both of you covered this. Grant, how about you start us off? What's Tales of Kenzera Zao?
I can do that. Yeah, it feels weird to talk about. I would have done my best to not mention Lost Crown before doing this review, but I just talked about another Prince of Persia that's getting ready to happen. So I do feel bad for these guys. It's sort of this game sort of getting sandwiched between both of them. Although I love nothing more than a good 3D, 2D Metroidvania game, but this does sort of follow that in a lot of ways as far as like the way you play the game, but it's different in a lot of ways as well. So yes, it is a traditional 3D Metroidvania where you're unlocking, more and more of the map and revisiting old locations. So that part is familiar. It's got a very cool look to it. It's very colorful. I really like the main character. I did a little reading. I guess it's inspired by Bantu mythology, which is African, old African traditions prior to like Christian and Islamic colonization. Not, a look that we are familiar with in games, I don't think. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a game look like this before. Definitely different from an aesthetic and also kind of a theology standpoint too. Very, very different kind of game. Jacob, do you like how this? Did you dig the visuals in this game?
I thought this game was just fantastic.
Yeah.
Like all the parts I've managed to get in with it, but yeah, like the game is just beautiful to look at. Whether you're looking at the character and monster design or demon designs, or the backgrounds, it's just there was a ton of care put into this game.
Yep.
It's fantastic to watch and play.
Yep. Yeah, it's very tight. It's a 3D side-scrolling platformer with like ranged and melee combat. I think one of the biggest differences between this and Lost Crown, sorry to mention it again, but I am going to because it's relevant, is that you have that ranged combat option. So you sort of switch back and forth between two different masks. You wear the sun mask and the moon mask.
To go with some comparisons on that, it reminded me of oh shoot, what was it? It was on the Xbox 360. Outland was it called?
Oh yeah, I loved Outland. I've
you would
seen
flip in between like the red and or orange and blue.
Yep.
Things
Totally. Like in real time, a lot of the time, like while you're playing,
Yeah, it reminded me of that. And the also the combat reminded me a lot of Shadow Complex.
Oh wow, man, I haven't heard that one in a long time.
Yeah, and I don't really go into Metroidvanias that much. Just like I've never been particularly great at 2D games, but it's just like those games were ones that like they definitely like clicked with me, and I like it just felt like second nature. Like going back to like playing Shadow Complex so much with this game, and so like. Yeah, the combat and like the controls, everything just moves so fluidly and so nice.
Yeah, and it plays tightly.
If you're not big on this genre, like the game, it like does have stuff to make it so it's more story focused than combat focused.
Yeah, I think it's it feels a bit friendlier overall. I think than a lot of Metroidvanias I've played. Like I didn't run into issues with difficulty. A lot of it does have some optional challenge areas you can play if you really want to test your platforming skills. The way that they're handled and the deaths are a bit different than in other similar games. But yeah, if you want to, it's got challenging stuff in it, but it doesn't seem to put it on the critical path. If you can skip that stuff you don't want.
Yeah, and there's not so much of like the hunting for collectibles and stuff. Like there are these things called echoes that you can collect, which is like background lore or stories that don't necessarily matter to the main thing, but like if you go after it, you're going to get a better understanding. But they're not necessary to complete the game. So it's if you just want to breeze through and just get an awesome story, you can. If you want to have challenges and collectibles to find in every single nook and cranny, it's there too.
Yeah, I enjoyed the echoes in this game. I think a lot more than the lore stuff in Lost Crown. Only in that in the sense that they felt more relevant to this story. Like a lot of the stuff in Prince of Persia is just like Persian history. Like out of a textbook, which is interesting to some, but it just doesn't really jive with what you're doing at the time. But I thought the echoes were pretty cool. I like the story. I didn't really care much about what was going on in Prince of Persia as much as I feel like this is a much more personal story. It's about it's the story of this character named QUByte who's recently lost his father, and he's dealing with it, and he's given a book to read, and the game you play is the book he's reading. So he's you play as Zhao, who's the main character of the story, and it's about Zhao's experience grieving the loss of his father. So it's a story about grief. And I thought it was quite effective. I really enjoyed the story in this more than some of the other games that play a lot like it. So yeah. I do feel like I got a little spoiled by Lost Crown's memory system. In this game doesn't really need you to put markers all over the map, but that is something that I think I'm just used to doing. But I also didn't realize this game is not as big as a game like that. It is not a budget title by any means, but it is not as massive as a game as some other ones that you've played. I don't know how long it took you to get through it, but it's not incredibly long compared to
I haven't beaten it yet. I've popped in about I want to say about like 10, 12 hours on it. Yeah. I still haven't beaten it, but I'm also not great at these kind of games. And I've also been messing around with a lot of the challenges. Which thankfully, I will say this, its save points are not ridiculous. And thankfully, 99% of the time you just respawn at the nearest cliff edge or whatever that you had fallen off of.
That's nice.
So yeah.
Friendly. Yep.
Well, the game clocks in at $20. What do the two you think of it?
For me, this is an absolute buy, especially at $20. I didn't know how much the game costs, because I never looked this up, and so I don't know. One of the nice things about my reviews is that Joe usually gets an honest, surprised reaction out of me when something that I was I'm like, oh, I would have paid $50 for this, and it turns out it's only $20. This is a more solid game than a lot of the games that I play for this podcast. And $20, holy crap. Yeah, no, you need to jump on this game. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, it's a steal. I also didn't realize it's less than half that of Lost Crown, and cheaper than most other games that are coming out. And it does not feel like it. It's very polished, plays great. If you like platformers at all, and a great story to go along with it, and killer visuals. I mean, you really can't beat it. I'm shocked it's that much. So
I really hope that we get more titles like this from this series and these devs. And I really hope that EA is willing to take more $20 risks like this.
Yeah, they went through an EA Originals window, and then they stopped for a while, and now they're kind of back doing it again. Yeah, it's real good.
Real good. I was really pleased with this. I hope we see more.
All right, very good. Grant, that is it for you. You going to stick around, or are you heading out?
I normally hang, but I think I am going to go. We're prepping for some people that are coming tomorrow, and I got to go and do stuff I don't want to do. So
fun. Well,
have people over, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna bring COVID over, Aki.
Nice.
So yeah,
probably.
Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not recommended.
Well, Grant, always good having you on, chatting.
Yeah.
I know you'll be back on again soon. We always love having you on. Do you have any final words?
Zow! That's all I got. Bye.
Take it easy. Next game, we're going to go with Metro Simulator 2, developed by KishMish Games and 100 Games, published by Ultimate Games, released April 24th on Xbox One, Series X and S for $19.99. Free mode, you can become a train driver. You can choose station or dead end, where you start the game by yourself. You could drive on the line without passengers, but at any time you could set the desired route and set up the schedule. It's important to follow it and depart from stations on time. Jacob, what are you doing in Metro Simulator 2?
That's a good question. What are you doing in Metro Simulator 2? Because I'm not going to lie, this first-person shooter series, it's taken a weird turn. So obviously,
I thought there were bullets as currency. I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
This is not.
Don't make fun of me. Fuck you, people.
This is not part of the Metro 2033 series, obviously. Instead, though, this is a Metro Simulator, which would be for us Americans, a subway. a Russian subway system. And and so pretty much it's just you get to drive the subway. And there is a scenario mode that you can play around in that, has all this different kind of stuff. Like you have to divert this kind of stuff, and you have to deliver X amount of you have to transport X amount of people and make all your stops on time and all this other kind of stuff. And then there's also like a free play mode, which you could just start wherever you want on the line, and you could just drive it as you see fit. There is a tutorial, which I found to be a bit of a mixed bag. It really feels like this is more like this is really geared for PC, not so much Xbox.
It feels like a lot of that with these simulators
with these sim games. Like, I mean, I appreciate that they're reaching out to and getting sim fans like their console titles, but this was honestly like a pretty frustrating experience. And it's just like the tutorial was not exactly the most helpful thing. I have yet to complete an actual scenario correctly because the train dispatch keeps giving me different orders, and then even if I stop perfectly, the emergency brakes still cut in. And you're also, if you go like 1 mile or kilometer, however you want to put it, if you go slightly over your speed limit, immediately the emergency brakes kick in. And it's frustrating. I'm sure that there's people out there who are like, yeah, this is relaxing. This is my jam. It was not for me. The character models are very basic, which, a lot of these games, they do have like very basic models, but you're not there to look at the train passengers. You're there to look at the stations, and the stations were all built at various different times. And so it's cool looking at various subway stations that I'm never going to experience because I don't ever plan on traveling over to Russia anytime soon. And on top of it, I hate using subways. So I'm not going to go. But I mean, it's like, are you hankering for some, to drive a subway train on an Xbox? If so, then go for it. Otherwise, there's other places to spend your money.
It seems like this is more for like a targeted audience and curious stragglers.
A very targeted audience. So like if you are one of the folks that enjoys playing train simulator games, and I mean like the hardcore train simulator games where there's like $30,000 worth of DLC, then yeah, like this is going to be up your alley. Everyone else, no.
Well, it's $20 your verdict.
I wouldn't spend $20 on it, but there's going to be some people who do find value with this.
Yeah.
It's just not my bag, and honestly, I think it might do better on PC than Xbox.
All right. Well, if you are curious, it is on sale for a few more days for $15.99. I don't think that'll change too many minds, but got about 4 or 5 days left on that price if you're interested. But Jacob, that is it for you. Go charge your phone.
Yeah, these headphones are surprisingly draining this battery. So I don't know what's up with that.
I don't know. Go find your dongle.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
You have any final words before we let you go?
I just did. I said good night, you dick.
Okay, suck a dick.
Fine, you.
Bye.
We'll suck each other's dicks.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Jacob.
Aki, are we sucking your dick too?
I can find some bad dragons for you.
Hey, Jacob.
You better get your balls ready.
I hate that not only did you suggest that, but also I know exactly what you're talking about. And no.
But there's some fantastic... Oh, well.
Aki, I gotta admit, I'm surprised you haven't found this button yet.
What about twat?
What? Where?
What about twat?
Where is that?
It's the one that says...
Oh, it's the last one.
What about twat?
What's this
Fuzzy
one?
pickles.
Oh, it literally is just Fuzzy Pickles. Okay.
Yeah, it's Purnell saying Fuzzy Pickles from Earthbound.
At some point, I really need to go through all of these because I don't know what like half of these are.
Most of them are wrestling.
And I still won't know what they are
And
other than
the other half. Yeah, pretty much.
That one.
Go fuck yourself.
All right, next game.
Here we go.
Here comes the money, the money, 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 money. All right, let's get back to reviews. Next game to talk about, Adore, developed by Cadabra Games, published by QUByte Interactive, released last August on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $19.99. Adore is a monster taming action game where the main character is able to summon and control creatures to fight by his side in a simple and innovative way. Aki, what's going on in Adore?
Okay, have any of you ever heard of this, cult classic? I know it's really underground, but it's called Pokemon. Have any of y'all ever heard of that one?
No.
This is a lot like that, but with significantly less Pokemons. You don't have enough Pokemans in this one. So in this, you play as some dude who's running around and wild beasts are about. And you can't fight. You have a big fuck-off stick. For some reason, you're a little too stupid to pick it up and swing. So instead, you find these little magical energies, and you claim them and suck them into your being somehow. And then you use that to tame beasts that are around. However many of them you have is how many beasts you can tame. I think the max you can carry on you is 3. If you pick up any more than that, they just fuck off. So use them or lose them, bitches. And through this, you can pick up different beasts. There's a handful of them in each area, and there's also different types of them, which you can think of as, Pokemon evolutions, maybe. There's a normal version of one of these beasts, a blessed version, and a super blessed version. Because I guess they got real tired when they were thinking of names. So each one costs a different amount of these orbs that you use to tame things. Normal ones only take 1. Normal blessed ones take 2. Super blessed ones take all 3. You can only get normal ones for a while. Eventually, you unlock the ability to start getting the other ones to appear, and usually that requires you to get a whole bunch of the normal ones and sacrifice them to get a chance for a higher version of it to show up. Which means this game takes forever to get things done. Other than that, because you are too stupid to use your giant fuck-off size stick to hit things in the head, you instead summon your beasts that you've tamed. You can have a whole bunch of them in your home inventory, but on your person to actually fight with, you can't have more than 4. Each one of them is mapped to one of the buttons on your controller, X, Y, A, or B, and when you push it, you basically just send them out and they attack whatever the closest thing is, unless you're directing them, and then it'll head in that direction and hit whatever's closest. They do whatever their attack is, and then they turn and they run back to you to disappear, or you, if you're smart, you just unsummon it so they don't get hit while they're running back to you. Because any damage they take is damage that they've permanently taken until you get out of there. And some of these levels are kind of long, and there's no real healing during them. You can craft some items to heal, but why do that if you can just avoid and have to heal in the first place and make your life significantly easier? So, yeah, just unsummon them immediately after they finish their attack. Make life easy. You can summon them based on how much stamina you have. It's basically magic power in this, and it recharges really quickly-ish, not super fast, but not slow either. I currently am only able to summon 2 at a time, and then I have to wait for 4 or 5 seconds, and then I can summon both of them again. So each creature has its own type of attack. There's magical, there's beastly, and elemental, I think, are the 3 different types of attacks. Each creature does one of them, and they also have a special ability. Whenever you summon one of them, any damage they do adds some energy onto the bars of the ones you haven't summoned, but not on their own. So it's a good idea to summon at least 2 different ones regularly so you can get everyone's special bar filled up to use them fairly regularly. When their special bar is filled up, the next time you summon them, they automatically use their special ability, and each one is completely different for each creature. Like one of the first ones you're probably going to get, its special ability is however much damage it does for its 3 or 4 attacks, it now does double damage for that one turn. Another one is, it summons ice that it slams into the ground and pops up ice crystals in front of it. Its special is it creates a wall in front of it instead to block off attacks for a little bit. Stuff like that. So every individual creature is different. You have to farm items and money and upgrade points and stuff in this game. Some of them can be spent to increase how big of a farm you have, basically. So you can have more different creatures on there, or so you can have a ton of the same one for sacrificing, because you're a monster, heartless monster. You can get artifacts that you can equip to yourself that can change how you play the game. Some of them just give you more speed for when you're running so you can avoid getting your ass beat by monsters. Some of them are like, hey, yeah, you recharge your enemy a little faster. Some of them, I think, give your beasts some health every time they damage an enemy or something. I didn't get too many of these in the game just because I was busy putting stuff into other things. Levels are generated at random. You get 3 or 4 levels when you go in, and each one of them has a certain amount of rounds before that level is gone and you can't access it. Usually I think they start at like 4 rounds, and there's like 3 or 4 of them, so you should be able just to cycle through them real quick. And once you're done with one, a new one pops up at the max time limit, so you're not going to be running out, thankfully. But what creatures are in it are semi-randomized. There's only certain creatures that are going to be in each area, but the length of it, the shape of it is going to be all different. What items you can find in it will be different. Sometimes you'll find some taming points. Sometimes you'll find bags of money, which you need a lot of to do anything in the game. Sometimes it'll be little collectible items, like little bits of food that you can collect that you can eventually turn into food items for your pets to help heal them and stuff. Sometimes it's collectible items to upgrade the artifacts that you can buy that I just mentioned a second ago. So it's just random what you get, and you may not get, let's say you really want to tame things. Well, you may have to play like 5 or 6, 7, 8 levels before one of those pops up. And that's fucking misery-inducing. But otherwise, it's not a bad game. It's not something I'd call particularly amazing. It's just an okay game. If you could set things up to be like, I want a level that just has this and nothing else in it, that'd be great if you could just set up levels, even if it was randomized within that, how big it is and so on and so forth. That would be great, just so you could farm the things you specifically want to get a hold of. Because I want to catch every creature and the normal blessed and super blessed versions of them, just because I'm that kind of fuckwit. So, like, I really want to farm those taming points, which I don't find a lot of because I've been very fucking unlucky. Instead, I find a lot of temporary upgrades and some items to upgrade other things that I don't get any money, so I can't find that, so I can't use. So I've been very unlucky, and that's just my life right there for you. So I would like them to add that ability just to be like, I want these items. Thankfully, as you continue the game, you unlock new regions that you can go to, which obviously have different creatures and stuff in them. But as you unlock them, you can also go into the map and click, hey, I'm looking for this specific item. And it will tell you where you need to go if there's a mission that has that item available, which is nice. So I'm hoping by the time I get near the end of the game, maybe I'll actually be able to find some of the things I fucking want finally.
Well, it sounds like you spent a lot of time and you're enjoying it, so...
It's okay. It's fine. It's not something
It's just fine.
Yeah, it's just okay. If I wasn't reviewing this, I probably wouldn't go out of my way to buy it. Honestly, it's not exactly my kind of game, but for what it is, it's decently well made. It's just a little too much randomness for me. I want this thing, I'm going to go for this thing, instead of, I want this thing and I might have to wait an hour and a half before I can fucking find it. The randomness is what really bothers me about the game, because I'm not what we call fucking patient.
Shocker.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well,
all the porn games I play, who would have thought that I like instant gratification?
I'll give it a few minutes. We'll get there. This one clocks in at $20. What are your thoughts on Adore?
For $20, this isn't bad. If this sounded interesting to you, give it a try. I think it's decent for what it is. If you don't like random, or you have really shitty luck like I do, you're probably not going to be a game for you. But if you're like, I like catching monsters, let's go do this, then go for it. It probably has like 30 or 40 of them, and then multiple different types of that specific one. I assume 3 of each. So, you have plenty to go and see here. So, and if you don't mind it taking a long time, this game does take a long time. So, have fun.
Cool. All right, next up is Tales from Candleforth, developed by Under the Bed Games, published by Feardemic, released April 30th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $11.99. Tales from Candleforth is a collection of fairy tales that were written on top of a forbidden book many years ago to hide its content. Years later, the dark text is bleeding out and onto the pages of the tales, mixing with them and twisting the stories. Horror Acolyte wrote in a review for this. Go figure. Horror Acolyte covering the horror games. Just makes sense, right?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Let's see what they have to say. Tales from Candleforth is a 2D point-and-click puzzle game centered around a dark folk tale with some mild horror elements. There we go. You start out as an unnamed protagonist, assumed to be the player, looking over some bookshelves in a nearly pitch-black room. You happen across a hidden passageway behind one of the bookshelves, a voice calling out to you from deeper within the spiderweb-ridden passage. Curious, you follow the passage as any sane person would. At the end of it exists a small room fully illuminated by candlelight. In the center sits a thin being with a giant pumpkin for a head. He introduces himself as Call, explaining that he has lived a long life, this room holding treasures from his many adventures. Around the room are an assortment of trinkets, a rabbit figure named Mrs. Hoppy, a moth collection, a self-portrait, and some egg-shaped spiderwebs that the average person would surely flee from. Among this assortment of possessions, you find a book named Tales from Candleforth. Call exclaims this is his most prized possession. He explains it's a compendium of magic. He knows how much humans love that stuff. He excitedly offers to read a story from the book, stating that the story changes every time someone new reads through it. After solving a simple lock puzzle, the tale begins. On a side note, the way they introduce the book implies that there will be player choice and alternate story paths, which there isn't unless they phrased it this way to make room for sequels. I only mention this because it set up certain expectations at the start of the game that really didn't come to fruition. So the tale begins centered around the Good Family. The women of the Good Family have practiced medicine in the village of Candleforth for generations, keeping the village healthy and safe. Sole surviving members of the Good Family are Dorothy and her granddaughter Sarah, whom Dorothy has cared for since Sarah's mother passed away at childbirth. The age of 15 is now time for Sarah to learn the family business, but unfortunately, Dorothy has become struck with a sudden affliction. One night, Dorothy wakes up and decides that she needs to distance herself from Sarah while her illness continues to worsen. She writes Sarah a letter, after which she begins to notice paper-like tears being tears being made in the fabric of her reality. I guess either one could work, but I think tears. The tears continue to manifest, eventually opening up and swallowing Dorothy. Next morning, Sarah goes to Dorothy's room to find Dorothy missing and a letter addressed to herself on the desk. Sarah opens the letter to learn why Dorothy wanted to leave and is left a small task that will act as Sarah's final training for the final profession. Find 3 ingredients that will help cure Dorothy's affliction: a black witch's seed, Melita's nectar, and a branch from a dryad tree. The majority of the game will have you playing as Sarah on her quest to find these ingredients. The visuals are done with a lovely hand-drawn art style that really breathes life into a dark storybook folktale aesthetic. Unfortunately, the quality of the visuals are most pronounced when dealing with darker elements of the game, which are in shorter supply than I would have liked, but it does make them more memorable. The game labels itself as a horror game, but in my opinion, the horror elements are fairly mild, mostly typical of what you would find in a dark fairy tale, save for a bit of serious subject matter. There are only a few chapters in the game, with each chapter's puzzles and items being mostly self-contained to that area. Each chapter plays out almost like an escape room style format. In the traditional point-and-click fashion, you'll use a cursor to interact with various objects to solve puzzles. Select objects to be used in various puzzles in the area, or move from screen to screen to look for additional puzzles and solutions. Solving one puzzle may provide items or a visual solution to help solve another puzzle, eventually leading to a final puzzle of the area that will allow you to move on to the next chapter upon its completion. There's a good variety of puzzles to solve, most of which will be fairly familiar to fans of puzzle games. Shuffling around objects to complete a picture, tile sliding, and basic pattern recognition, among others. Most aren't too difficult, save for maybe one of them. Unlike a lot of older point-and-click games, it'll be fairly obvious when you need to use items in your inventory. You most likely won't be wandering around for hours trying to get a specific item to correctly trigger an interaction in the environment. Some of the puzzles have excellent presentation. For example, there's one with a dismembered baby doll floating in the ocean. Interesting. Different types of roses growing out of its face. Manipulating a day and night cycle allows you to let certain flowers grow in the day, others to grow in the night. You then need to move the clouds around to make sure flowers are sheltered from specific light. Success resulting in more flowers bursting forth from the baby's face and making the puzzle slightly more difficult. Most of the story in the game is told through story-like cutscenes at the start of each chapter, a few really quick cutscenes after some puzzle interactions, and through the occasional object in the environment. You don't get stuck on any of the puzzles for a prolonged period of time. The game is fairly short, probably 2 to 4 hours in length, depending on your aptitude towards the puzzles. The hand-drawn visuals and Tales of Candleforth are pretty good, especially when horror-themed elements are concerned. Puzzles offer enough variety to keep players engaged throughout the journey. Definitely great for those looking for a slightly more casual experience, but may disappoint those seeking a challenge. There are a few moments when the game delivers on being especially creepy, but is generally more in line with dark fairy tale than outright horror. Those looking for an intricate story from this tale will be left wanting more. Story elements are a bit generic, with an ending that wasn't particularly satisfying. Overall, Tales from Candleforth offers enough puzzle variants to satiate fans of puzzle games, making it a fairly easy recommendation for fans of the genre. Just don't go into it expecting an awe-inspiring story. You'll see some creepy magic, though. I've heard humans love that stuff. Very good. That one sounds interesting. What are your thoughts?
I have no thoughts because I was not what we call paying attention.
Proud of you.
I'm playing a review game. What do you want from me?
You know what I really want?
$1 billion?
No.
Too bad.
SML
You don't? What's wrong with
Dark.
That's what I want. SML After Dark. And we've got that with Jury Episode 2, The Trial of Brooke Lafferty. Developed by Nickel 3D Art, published by Eros Interactive, released March 29th on Steam as DLC for Jury Episode 1 for $4.99. Today's the day the trial of Brooke Lafferty starts, so get your suit on and head off to court with your peers to experience the first few days of the trial, hear the first rounds of witness testimonies, perhaps even manage to influence the trial yourself. Aki, this doesn't sound like a porn game. What's going on?
Would you like to just tell everybody what review game I'm playing right now? You can look at Discord.
You're playing Episode 1.
No. this is DLC for episode 1, so...
Well, it just says you're playing Jury episode 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little surprised when it ended up being DLC for the first one instead of its own game, because lots of them are usually just their own game. So that was interesting. That's something people may have to be aware of with future installments to this, because there are still going to be more games. This does not end it. So the game will get bigger and bigger because it's DLC instead of its own individual game. Though it does mean that your save continues, which makes things a little easier and yet more complicated at the same time. A lot of updates have gone into this game, because obviously as they update the first game and the DLC, they're both tied together. This game continues at where the last game ended off. Last game, you went to sleep right before the first day of the trial. This one, it starts with you waking up that morning with maybe a lucky lady, or maybe your hand. Who knows? Yeah. And you go to the courthouse at the start of this, and everyone determines who's going to be the person who speaks for everybody, and of course you're the main character in this, so it's you. So you know, yeah, it's great. And they're doing this in the Indiana style. What that means, I have no fucking clue. Even though I am from Indiana, for anyone who didn't know that. I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about when they say this at all. And I just had jury duty not too long ago, so I don't know. So, for this trial, instead of, just being silent observers, basically, you're told, hey, yeah, you get to ask one question after every break, based on what has been mentioned in this part of the trial. So after the little bit you get to hear, you and the rest of the people go back, and some of them bring up questions that they would like to have asked. And you get to choose one out of 3. It's always 3 because they want to give you a few choices. And that actually determines how guilty or innocent the Miss Lafferty looks, which is really interesting. And some of you might be like, yeah, this still doesn't sound like a porn game. Yeah, I know. That's because this is the really interesting part of the game to me. This is the hook for this game, is this. When you're not in the trial, you are at the hotel and you're interacting with the, 10 other people, almost all of them women. There's only one dude and he's a fucking douchebag. And he might not stay there the whole time, because in the first one, I think you can get him arrested and get him kicked off. So fucking do that, because he's a fucking douche. And then it's just you and a whole bunch of very attractive women. And that's just the other jurors. Almost everyone who works at the hotel is also a woman, and you can work on getting in their pants too, because fuck it, why not? As well as the main officer and a reporter. So, you aren't spoiled for choice here. You got a bunch here. And during these times, you can go to different areas. You only get to choose one out of this list, which can have you interacting with different people, and you can speak with them and choose different interactions with them, which can make them like you or dislike you, as well as increase your good guy points, which just makes you seem like a decent person, and for that, you can use that in this game. You couldn't use it in the first one, but in this DLC, you're able to occasionally use that to do things that necessarily, sexual things, I might add, that necessarily that girl doesn't particularly enjoy so much. Like, one girl who's fairly new to sex, she doesn't want, to get a bunch of nut busted on her face. But you can use some of your good guy points, because it's not like anyone told you she doesn't want that. You can use some good guy points to do that. Whereas, obviously if you went with the other choices, she prefers those. So that's what those points are for. So they're kind of not super important, but, depending on what you want to see, they can be. So that's where all the sex is. Obviously, it's not during the trial, because you're not going to walk up to the prosecutor, bend her over the table, and have sex with her in the middle of the trial. even though that would be really awesome. There is something I would like to bring up about this. As someone who has been on jury duty, and saw the video and all that other fun stuff, a lot of TV shows and movies and stuff, they're not very good at actually displaying what an actual court case looks like, because they want it to be entertaining, and being a juror isn't fucking fun. It's boring as shit. So this game actually shows that to a degree. Like, the opening stuff in TV shows and movies never even semi-fucking realistic. This game, they actually do it a lot more realistically. The opening statement is for them to tell you specifically what they are trying to prove. Something that is never done in movies and TV shows. They never do that. Instead, they open it with arguments or what you would use as a closing statement. This game actually opened the opening statements as fucking opening statements, and that was awesome to me. This is the hook. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to get into this, because I was wanting this kind of stuff to be mixed with my porn. Because I if you're just playing a sex game, some sex games are just wham bam, thank you ma'am. I tend to find those kind of boring because there's not enough story to it. I like story, and this has a good story. Miss Lafferty is on trial for murdering her husband. She is a superstar, basically. Like, she has her own beauty line, she has a clothing line, she's a movie star, all this shit. Like, she is the world icon, basically. So, like, she's a super important person. You don't give a fuck about this woman. You know who she is, but you're like, I don't really care. Some of the people on this trial don't even know who she is for some reason.
Acolyte says this dev is passionate about two things: sex and the law.
Yes. A lot of the stuff I know about law comes from a YouTube channel, Legal Eagle, and he is actually a lawyer and has been for like over a decade. So that's what I'm putting all of this against, is what I've learned from watching his videos where he talks about this kind of stuff. I love it. You have no idea. It is so fun. But beyond that, so the questions you ask can help make her look more or less guilty or not change the bar at all. You do not get to the end of the trial in this game. The next game, I think, will actually get maybe to I think there's 3 of them that are planned. So the next one will end the trial, and she'll either get a guilty or not guilty. And it will be partly because whether you're a dumbass or not, realistically speaking.
Well, I guess we'll find out more to this tale in the coming months.
Yes, and there is one more thing I want to bring up. They have added I love the name of this. They've added a menu item called the Wank Bank. And if you're like, what's that? Because you don't know what that is, somehow. When you click it, you get a picture of all the different girls that show up in the game, at least so far. And when you click on one of them, it actually can bring you to see scenes that you've unlocked in the game. So this game, you are made to play through it multiple times to interact with all the girls, to change the verdict, so on and so forth. So it actually keeps track of all that. There's also a scene gallery specifically that has a handful of specific scenes that you can go back into and play as well, which are really fun. And there's also a little camera on the table, which I assume is probably going to, when you actually start taking pictures of girls, because you can do that in this one, inappropriate pictures, I assume you can click on that and probably get to those pictures. I haven't done that in this specific playthrough yet. So, yeah, it's great. I like it. I like the updates that are being brought to the game.
Cool. Well, it's $5. What do you think?
Hell yes. I think this is a fantastic game. I really like its hook. I am so down for this. Yes.
Cool. All right, sounds good. That is it for this episode. We made it through. It has been a long one. Big thanks to you for sticking it out till the end. Thanks to Jacob for charging his phone and losing his dongle. Thanks for Bree for going sailing. Thanks to Grant for coming on and talking about Metroidvanias, and thanks to Glenn for coming on and chatting about Nickelodeon.
You know, if Jacob stopped giving his dongle boob jobs, maybe he wouldn't lose it. Just saying.
Got to bounce him off his titties to...
Yeah, but they're so big that they bounce and who knows where they fucking end up. Like, Jesus.
Music this episode, since Grant was on, we're going to play something not from Grant. How about that? What do you think of that?
Sure.
We are going to play something
weird, but yeah.
From our good friend Danimal Cannon off the Giants album that we've been playing Grant songs from Super Strikers. But we're going to switch it up, play some Danimal Cannon with Mega Man music, and rock out with that. What do you think?
Sounds like a plan. Let's do this.
Cool beans. Do you have any final words to end the show?
Jury duty fucking sucks, but go do it. It's your American duty or some bullshit.
No.
Fair.